All right, so today we're diving deep into something I think, we all deal with, worry.
Oh, yeah.
And we're going to be looking at breaking free from worry for this. And, it's really about finding peace in in the middle of all the chaos of life
Right.
and finding a different type of peace than maybe what we normally think of.
Yeah, I mean, so much of what we hear out there is about creating that sort of peace from the outside,
Hmm.
right? Like, if I just achieve this or I
Right,
just get to this place, then everything will be fine.
right.
But this source is really talking about a different kind of peace, a deeper kind of peace.
Yeah, and it is a heavy weight to carry around.
It is.
When you're constantly worrying about things, it really does affect you.
Yeah.
And this idea of God offering this peace, it's a different kind of peace
Absolutely.
than we normally think of.
It's not a peace that depends on, everything going right
Right,
or everything being okay.
right.
It's a peace that transcends your circumstances. Right.
Philippians 4.67 talks about not being anxious for anything,
Right.
but instead taking everything to God in prayer
Okay.
with thanksgiving.
Okay, so you mentioned surrender there. And honestly, I kind of struggle with that concept because
Yeah,
it feels passive.
I see.
So how can we actively invite God into a situation that's causing anxiety? Like, isn't action important?
Yeah, that's a great question. Surrendering doesn't mean that you just, sort of sit back and let things happen to you.
Okay.
It's not passive.
Right.
But it is acknowledging, you know, our limitations,
Yeah.
that we're not in control of everything.
Okay.
And we don't have to carry the burden of worry all on our own.
Okay.
When we surrender our anxieties to God in prayer, we're not just asking for him to fix it,
Right.
but we're inviting him into the situation,
Okay.
aligning our hearts with his will.
So it's really about faith.
It
It's
is.
about trusting that he's got this.
Absolutely. Yeah. Even when we don't understand.
Yeah.
Okay, so this kind of comes back to that
Yeah.
he's in control,
Yes.
even when everything feels chaotic.
Exactly. It's about shifting our focus
Okay.
from our own limited understanding and our perceived control to the vastness of his sovereignty and goodness.
Uh-uh.
And that's where the source really emphasizes, focusing on his promises and seeking his guidance.
Okay, so can you give us an example, like a tangible example? Let's say you've lost your job.
Mm-hmm.
Like how does focusing on God's promises bring comfort in that moment? And how do you practically seek his guidance in that type of situation?
Yeah, so you've lost your job and you're worried.
Right.
Instead of panicking, the source suggests you turn to scripture.
Okay.
Find those verses that remind you of God's faithfulness, his promise to provide for his children.
Okay. Yeah.
Then you can actually seek his guidance through prayer,
Okay.
asking for direction, discernment as you navigate that job search process.
So it's about kind of replacing, those thought spirals that can just take you down
Absolutely.
with that trust that God's got a plan.
Exactly. It's not ignoring the reality of the situation. It's choosing to place your faith in God's love and provision,
Okay.
even when things are tough.
And it sounds like relying on God's peace is more of a proactive thing
It is.
than a passive.
Yes.
It's about cultivating that trust, actively seeking his guidance. It's that shift from fear to faith.
You got it. It's about realizing that we're not alone in our struggles.
Right.
God is with us every step of the way, offering strength, clarity, and ultimately a peace that passes all understanding.
This has been such an insightful look at breaking free from worry. And I think the key takeaway here is that cultivating a deep trust in God
Yeah.
allows us to tap into this unshakable peace. It empowers us to face challenges with confidence and hope. So I want to leave you with this. What is one specific worry that you can consciously surrender to God today? And how can focusing on his promises bring you comfort in this very moment?